Hey there. So I just dropped episode 29 of the show, I think 3 days ago, and here's a portion of it that I wanted to share. So as always, let me know your thoughts. Please leave a comment. And until then, be well, and I'll see you next time. And before we get going, there are two overarching items that I want to get into right away. The first is that my purpose in presenting this information is to pose one question and one question only, and that is what you will see and hear in this episode compelling enough to conclude that the events of a particular event that I'll name are inconsistent with the official narrative? The second item is that, at least to me, we need some framework for making that determination. A single standard, if you will, for judging the information. And I think our legal grand jury process is a solid fit. Its purpose is to test legal evidence to see if it has the merit to support a case at trial. And I'm not asking for a verdict here. No, yes, I agree, or no, I don't agree with the pieces of information I'll relay taken independently or as a whole. I'm only asking whether you believe it's consistent or inconsistent with the official narrative. So if a grand jury votes that a case should proceed, it is to say that the evidence has met the legal standard of probable cause, meaning that there are, quote, enough objective facts to support a prosecutor's claims. Maybe there's a better method, but I think it's perfect for our needs. So I'd ask that you view all this from that lens. Am I presenting sufficient objective facts to support my contention? So here it is, that single question I'm interested in. Is what you will see and hear in this discussion compelling enough to conclude that the events of September 11th, 2001 are inconsistent with the official narrative? 9/11. Oh yes, I'm going there. So here they are, the facts I present in support of my contention. 1. The claim that our leaders and the institutions they had the responsibility for overseeing couldn't have anticipated the event, which I'm sure you'll be shocked to learn, turns out to have been a lie. 2. The existence of a petition signed by over 3,000 licensed architects and engineers calling for a new independent investigation with subpoena power and with a particular focus into the causes of the destruction of the World Trade Center towers and Building 7. 3. The Patriot Act. Now let's have Andrew Napolitano give us some thoughts on this.
We have come 360 degrees from fighting a revolution against a tyrannical government because it dispatched its agents to write their own search warrants, to establishing a constitution which assured us that that would never happen and required that when the government wants anything from you, it has to go to a judge, to popularly electing members of Congress who would vote to gut the Constitution and remove the second most important right in it and let federal agents write their own search warrants. And that's what this monstrosity of the so-called Patriot Act does.
And what about the timing? That bill, which Mr. Napolitano describes like this.
The Patriot Act, which is 315 pages long, which basically amends hundreds and hundreds of other statutes. So in order to read the Patriot Act, you not only need the act itself in front of you, you need the entire United States Code, which is about the size of 8 or 10 sets of Encyclopedia Britannica. I've read it 3 times, and it takes about 20 hours to read each time.
Was introduced a mere 42 days after the event. 42 days. 4. Project for a New American Century's 1997 report titled Rebuilding America's Defenses, Strategies, Forces, and Resources for a New Century. Here we have a group of signatories that includes names like Elliott Abrams, Jeb Bush, Dick Cheney, Steve Forbes, Louis Libby, Dan Quayle, Donald Rumsfeld, and Paul Wolfowitz, all calling for the hyper-militarization of the U.S. to carry out its, quote, global responsibilities, wherever those came from. The proposed strategy included regime changes in Iraq and other Middle Eastern countries. And finally, the report contained the following, which just seems a little creepy. Quote, further, the process of transformation, even if it brings revolutionary change, is likely to be a long one, absent some catastrophic and catalyzing event, like a new Pearl Harbor. 5. Was Frank DeMartini, manager of World Trade Center Construction and Project Management, just mistaken when he said this?
The building was designed to have a fully loaded 707 crash into it. That was the largest plane at the time. I believe that the building probably could sustain multiple impacts of jetliners because this structure is like the mosquito netting on your screen door, this intense grid, and the jet plane is just a pencil puncturing that screen netting. It really does nothing to the screen netting.